Hello, 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 and welcome to Drag Race Stats, and welcome to my series Untying the Ties. And for this one, we will be looking at seasons where only one queen was supposed to win the Maxi challenge, but there were several queens who actually did. And as always, I only cover the seasons where RuPaul is the main host and judge, and seasons where only one queen was supposed to win a Maxi challenge. So in this one, we will be looking at RuPaul's Drag Race US, UK, Down Under Season 1 to 3, Global All-Stars, and The Secret Celebrity Season 2, of course. So how I'm gonna do this is we're gonna look at each time that 2 or more queens won a challenge, where normally only one queen would have won it, and then I will give my opinion on who I thought should have won it based on the challenge itself. And if they both did similar or really good in the challenge, the runway will be a tiebreaker. I will have pictures on the challenges. I apologize in advance, they are not very good pictures. It was really hard to find good quality pictures of any of these challenges, so please bear over with that. Anyway, let's just get started. So for the very first time we had a double win, it was in Season 3, Episode 3, titled Queens in Space, where they had to do this acting challenge of queens in outer space. It was like a parody of Barbarella called Boobarella. And we had a double win of Alexis Mateo and Shangela playing the twins, which is actually crazy because they have like, I don't know, 2 lines together or something. So it's really weird why they win this. But yeah, this one is really hard to determine because they literally have the same role, of course. They say the same things at the same time. They look the same. And even on the runway as well, where the category was Futurama Glamorama, which is a crazy thing. A futuristic space like couture look they had to do. But yeah, they also almost wear the exact same thing with this red Judy Jetson hooker look. But yeah, despite all of that, I think Alexis's look is a little bit better. So I would give the win to her here. Then the next one we have in Season 4, Episode 2, titled WTF Wrestling's Trashiest Fighters, where they basically had to do a wrestling performance against each other in teams. I thought drag wasn't a contact sport. Where the double win went to Madame LaQueer and Chad Michaels. For this one is pretty easy to me. I think Madame LaQueer definitely deserves this win because she went all in for this challenge. It was really funny to see her go crazy. She also just looked like an over-the-top type of drag wrestler. Like, this is exactly what I would have expected. I think Chad is fine too, but I really think Madame LaQueer overshadows her. And on the runway, the category was Girly Girl Couture. I don't think it should count this much. I think Madame LaQueer's look is a little bit worse, but I don't think Chad Michaels' look is that much better either. So I definitely still want to give it to her. Then we actually have another one from Season 4 in Episode 8, titled Frenemies, where they again had to work in teams and do this like song telling how much better they are than the other one. There weren't really a runway for this episode, so whatever they were wearing in the challenge was also the runway kind of. It's very weird when they did this in the early seasons. But anyway, the double win here went to Latrice Royale and Willem. And I think this one is very hard to determine because they both do the same thing again and they wear the same thing as well. And even though Latrice is the whole show, I did give the win to Willem just because I think she had the better jokes and she also did that fall, which I just think was, you know, a bit more impressive to do in a way. So yeah, I did give it to Willem. It would also just be funny if she got a solo win and was eliminated in the same episode. Then we move on to Season 6, Episode 7, titled Glamazon by Color Revolution. So the queens were paired up in teams of 2, but they had to make this ad for RuPaul's makeup kit, and they all chose to play like different characters in different situations. The winners here were Adore Delano and Laganja Estranja, even though Bianca and Trinity definitely should have won this. But anyways, that's not what this video is about. And I think it's very clear that Adore was the solo winner here. Like, even on the runway, the theme was black and white. I have no idea what the fuck Laganja was thinking with this outfit. Nothing really works. It is so weird looking, and she actually had some very good on runways this season, so I don't understand why she brought this one. So yeah, this one is very clearly Adore's win. Now we move on to Season 7, and we do have a total of 3 here, which is just crazy. And yes, it is 3 and not 4, because I just want to make this perfectly clear. In the episode of the makeover, where Trixie returns to the competition, Pearl gets the solo win here. It's very clearly said in the episode that Pearl is the only winner, and Trixie returns. You can hear it when RuPaul says, Pearl, you are the winner of this week's challenge, and you won the prize this week. Only Pearl and not Trixie. So it is 3 and not 4. I just want to make that perfectly clear so you don't think I forgot something. Anyway, let's move on. So here in Episode 5, we had the Despy Awards, where Max and Pearl won together, which of course was an award show where they gave each other prizes for different categories, and then the queens had to come up on stage and do a little thank you speech. And there was no runway for this episode, so that's why I just chose to have their outfits shown here. This is the episode where Pearl has that little stand standoff with RuPaul where she goes, "Is there something on my face?" And Pearl and Max win this challenge together, of course. I think I would give it to Pearl, even though I know that Max did all the preparations and wrote all the things, but it comes down to the performance of the actual challenge and not the writing. I think it's always been like that, you know, we see that in the girl groups and in the roasts now. I would give it to Pearl. I also just like her outfit a bit more. And then we move on to episode 7, where there was the Snatch Game, where the queens of course have to portray different celebrities in an improv challenge. And the winners here were Ginger Minj and Kennedy Davenport. Even though I think Kennedy could definitely just have won this alone, I think it was very clearly her challenge to win this one, because she did a male character for the first time, even though they didn't really like that back then, so she took a huge risk and it really paid off. She was so funny in this. And also just on the runway, where the category was with leather and lace, she clearly had the best runway of the two. Don't really know what Ginger was trying to do with this Elvis look, especially not for the bottom half. Why didn't she just wear leather pants? So yeah, clearly a win for Kennedy here. I think they just wanted to give Ginger Minj an acting challenge win for being the campy queen of the season. Okay, so now the last one from season 7 here, in episode 10, titled Prancing Queens, where they had to pair up in teams and do a little dance rehearsal where they mixed 2 dance styles together and also a male and female drag character, I guess you could say that. So again, there was no runway here, there was the same as they were in the challenge. We had Katja and Violet Chachki. Again, a very hard one to determine because they do the dance together, they hit every mark, both of them, and they kind of look similar. They were actually the only ones who looked almost exactly the same. I wonder how they came up with these outfits, if they did it themselves or if it was production. But yeah, I think it's so hard to determine this, so I really had to go nitpicky on this one because in the challenge they are so good, both of them. But there is one moment where Violet has to go from one side to the other and she does this weird roll kind of thing, and I think that's why I want to give it to Katja. Also, Katja does a split and some very high kicks, which is very impressive for her. You know, she is exactly 10 years older than Violet, so I think that should come into consideration, even though I like Violet's outfit just a tiny bit more. But I think I will give it to Katja for those reasons. So in season 8, episode 7, titled Shady Politics, the queens had to, you guessed it, pair up in teams and make a little smearing campaign against each other where they played different political characters. And the double win here went to Bob the Drag Queen and Derek Barry. It is so clearly that Bob won this one. Of course, Derek was very funny as well for the first time, but no, it was very clear Bob's win yet again. And if you need some more reassurance, just look at the runway. Another black and white, but this time was realness, and apparently it was inspired by Detox's finale outfit on season 5, even though season 6 happened before season 8. But whatever, very clearly Bob, she had the best runway of the two, and also she was so funny in the challenge. And then we actually get to something very interesting happening on season 9, because we have 2 double wins here, and it is won by the exact same queens, Shea Coulee and Sasha Velour. And we start off with episode 4, titled Good Morning Bitches, where they had to make a little morning talk show with different segments. Sasha and Shea has a little cooking program where they tie in RuPaul's chocolate in different meals. And they are of course very funny together. I think they both are really good. But I do think Sasha is just a little bit better and a little bit more funny than Shea is. And also her runway, the Naughty Nighty, is way better, I would say. So I give this one to Sasha. And then again for episode 9, titled Your Pilot's on Fire, where they again were teamed up and had to do different pilots for TV shows. And Sasha and Shea made this one, Teets and Askey. It was sort of like a buddy cop type of movie, but they were fighting bad fashions. And again, I want to give it to Sasha because I think her character was more funny. She had some better jokes. She was doing like the Russian accent and everything. And also moving on to the runway, which of course was Club Kid Couture. I really like Shea's look here, but I do think Sasha's is a little bit better. And it hurts me to give both wins to Sasha over Shea because Shea is one of my favorite drag queens. But I guess that also solidifies Sasha's win of season 9 a little bit more, since both her wins were with Shea and she never had any solo wins, but she actually did do the best in both of those, in my opinion. So on season 11, episode 2, titled Good God Girl Get Out, the queens were paired up in 2 teams where they had to do 2 movies, where the one was a parody of Black Panther and the other one was a parody of Get Out. which was the winning team here with Scarlet Envy and Evie Oddly. I think this one is very tough. They both kind of play the main characters. I think Scarlet played the main character. I think she had the most scenes, and I also think that's why I want to give it to her. She was very good in this. Evie is a strong second contender. And on the runway, What's Your Sign? Oh my god, this runway was so fucking good. I think everyone killed this one, maybe except for Kahana. But yeah, this was one of my favorite runways of the entire show. I think Scarlet is just a little bit better. I really like Evie's Mechanical Lion though, but I think her bubbles was just such a unique twist. We hadn't seen that before. So yeah, I want to give it to Scarlet here. Also crazy if Evie won this season without having any challenge wins. And then we get to season 13, where we also have 2 double wins, and Simone is actually part of both of them. But yeah, we start off with episode 10, titled Freaky Friday, where the queens had to do a makeover, and because of the restrictions and COVID and everything, they had to do it on each other's. So they had to put their own drag character on the other queen. And it was a very interesting way to do this, and I really liked it a lot. So the double win here went to Simone and Utica Queen. And I think because Utica looks the best here, that means Simone will get the win. Because I don't really like Utica's outfit that much, I would say. The one Simone is wearing. And I think Simone just did such a good job on Utica. So I want to give this win to Simone. And then it happens again in the next episode, episode 11, titled Pop Goes the Queen. But they each had to do an ad for a soda pop. And Simone and Rosé, for some reason, wins this one together. I think it was very clearly that Simone should just have won this. Her sweet tooth was so fucking funny and memorable. And then I guess Rosé's was okay as well. I think it was funny enough to see her. She was trying to go out of her professionalism. And then on the runway we had the Beast Couture, where Simone wears a fursuit. It's just a fursuit. And I don't understand how they not say that this isn't, a costume or something. Even though she shows her face, it is a fursuit. I really like Rosé's look here. Actually, I think she had the better one of those two, but I still want to give it to Simone just for the challenge. So both of them will go to Simone. And then we move on to season 15, episode 11, titled 2 Queens 1 Joke, but the queens had to pair up and do a stand-up routine. Double win here goes to Lucy LaDuca and Lux Noir London. I just want to say I don't think no one was particularly very funny in this challenge. I think it makes sense that Lux and Lucy win, but I don't think they were necessarily super funny. I just don't think racial stuff is very funny. But yeah, I do think that Lucy is sort of like the main character of the two of them. She's the one with all the jokes. She's the one talking almost the entire time. Lux almost doesn't say anything. She has a few punchlines here and there. And on the runway we had the category Rip Her to Shreds. I think this was very different from Lucy, what she had done before. So I really liked it also, even though her makeup wasn't super great. And Lux's look was also very fun, as a little tribute to RuPaul, of course. But I do want to give it to Lucy because of the challenge. And then we get to season 16, episode 5, titled Girl Groups. Yep, that's what it's called. And this is actually funny because this is the first time that this happens in a US season where a girl group win goes to all of the queens in that group. Normally it goes to one. It's usually on the UK where all the girl groups win the challenge, which we will get to later, of course. In this one, the win went to Nymphia Wind, Megami, Geneva Carr, and Maya Iman LePage. And this one is very hard to determine because they're all so good. Oh, it's so good. Nymphia is just so flawless to look at. She does every single move with ease. It just flows right out of her. But the other three are a little stiff looking at points. And also her verse is very good. I know that Megami wrote all the verses probably because she's so good at writing stuff. It should be the performing challenges that gets the win and not the writing. Also, if we look at the runway, Faster Pussycat Wig Wig, which is a reference to the movie Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, in case you didn't know. I think it's very clearly that, again, Nymphia has the best outfit here. So I do want to give the win to Nymphia here. And then in episode 12 we also had one, titled Bathroom Hunties, where Zafira Cristal and Plain Jane won the challenge this time. And this one they had to design different bathroom stalls for some reason, for then Carson and Michelle could come and visit. Yeah, and I think the real winner of this one was definitely Carson and his German accent. It was so hilarious in this one. But yeah, moving on to the actual contestants, I think I will give it to Zafira for this one. I think she was really funny. I think Plain was as well, but she was just doing that high-pitched voice the entire time. It could be a little bit annoying. And if it had to come down to it, I think the runway category was chain reaction. I think definitely Zafira took it with this one. Her look with the dog here was just insane. And we haven't really seen her do that kind of stuff. So yeah, definitely give this win to Zafira. And then we move on to the newest season here with season 17, episode 12, where we had the charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent monologues. And the double win here went to Lexi Love and Anya Nerve. I think they both did a really good job. They were both really funny in the dancing portion and also in the storytelling portion. I will say I think Lexi just kind of stole the show a little bit. She was just very unhinged in all of her movements. I think Anya was too, but I think Lexi just did it in her own kind of way, where I think maybe Anya was a little bit too serious sometimes. Not when she did the monologues, I think she was very funny in that one, but in the movements she was a little serious looking, where I think Lexi was just having more fun with it in both of the aspects. And also on the runway we had the ugliest dress ever. Again, yes, Anya's was ugly, but she was dressed as a turkey for some reason, and I just think Lexi's was ugly, but it was also quite fashionable in a way. So it worked in both ways for some reason. So I do want to give the win to Lexi here, actually. Okay, so now we move on to the UK franchise, and we're gonna see a lot of girl groups in this one. But we start off here with season 1 in episode 4, where we actually had the snatch game again. And this time the double win was between the Vivian and Bag of Chips. And I will say I think the Vivian gave one of the best, if not the best, impersonation that I've ever seen on the show, of course of Donald Trump here. It was just insanely accurate. Like, it was actually scary. And on the runway, the category was genetically modified drag queens. I don't love Bagger's look at all here, so I think the Vivian just gets this hands down. Like, there was no competition. Should it have been a double win in the first place? I'm not sure. Like, it could definitely just have been a solo win for the Vivian. That would have been fine. And in the next episode, actually in episode 5, we again have a girl group. And it is a triple win here with Blue Hydrangea, Davina De Campo, and again Bag of Chips. Everyone is really good in the challenge here. Of course, they all deserve the win. I think that was very fair. But I feel like Davina is sort of like the leader of the group, also because she has that insanely high whistle tone. Yeah, I just feel like it should be her, even though I think Bagger looks the best here in the girl group, and I also think she looked the best on the runway, which was a day at the races. Even though I don't really think anyone really like hit the brief sort of like on the head, but also it's a weird one, it's a weird category. But I will still give the win to Davina. I think that makes sense. So then we move on to UK 2 in episode 5, titled the Rurishan Song Contest, which is just again a girl group challenge. And we have a 4-tie win here with Lawrence Chaney, Taze, Bimini Bon Boulash, and Ahura. To me, in the girl groups challenge, it comes down between Taze and Bimini. I think they both really deserve really good verses and a lot of great choreo, especially with Taze, because she had been fading in the background a little bit in the beginning of the competition, and she had just been in the bottom for the Rusical, so I think she really came back for this one and really delivered. When I first watched it, I thought she was gonna win alone here. And then on the runway, we have the category A Day at the Seaside, and I will say I think Taze's look is the better one here, even though I think Lawrence has the best look overall, but I think she does the worst in the girl group. I will give the win here to Taze. And the UK 3 episode 4, titled Big Drag Energy, we have another girl group challenge. And the 4-way win here again was Theresa May, River Medway, Ella Vade, and Vanity Milan. In this one, I think it's very close between River, Ella, and Vanity. I think they all do a very great job here. No one really misses anything. I just think Theresa is a little bit stiff in this one. So it has to come down to the runway, I think. And in the runway, we have the Knights of 1,000 Spice Girls. And I would say no one really delivered with this one. They all look extremely basic, yeah, I'm sorry to say. I will say I think Vanity has the best look. Not like she's anything super special here, but I think she does. So I will give the win here to Vanity Milan. And we actually have another one from UK 3 here, episode 8, titled Bra Wars, which is an acting challenge of a parody of Star Wars. And the double win here went to Kitty Scott Claus and Elevate Day again. And this one is actually very interesting because no one, of course, went home in this episode. It's a little weird why they had a acting challenge at the top 4. And after the runway, it was announced that there was going to be a lip sync for the top 2, and then the winner of the lip sync would win the challenge, but both of the queens won the lip sync. So this one is really hard to determine because I think that Ella did the best in the challenge, and on the runway the category was scene stealers, where they had to portray a character from a movie. Ella Day is an Oompa Loompa from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the original one with Gene Wilder, and Kitty was Rose from Titanic. I think that Kitty had the best runway, but then we see the lip sync, and I do think that Kitty wins the lip sync, even though they both do. So I think I will give the win here to Kitty Scott Claus for those reasons. It just comes out 2-1. Had it not been for the lip sync, I think think I would have given the win to Ella. Moving on to UK4 episode 2, titled Glastonbury Festival. We have, you guessed it, a girl group challenge, but it will be the last one, from the UK at least. We will have one more later. And here we actually have a 6th-way tie, which is just insane. So the winners here are Cheddar Gorgeous, Copper Top, Danny Beard, Pixie Polite, LePhil, and Dakota Schiffer. My god. I will say, I think there's only one who does a really good job in this one, and it is Dakota. I think all of the others are just very stiff, or they just don't really fit the brief. I think LePhil, for example, is doing way too much. Danny is not really moving at all. She's just standing there doing air quotations. And Cheddar hers is just very boring. It's very slow. I just don't think it fits. So let's look at the runway here. The category was Neon Nights. Huh, I'm not seeing a whole lot of neon here. So yeah, I think it's very clear that Dakota is the best here. So I'm actually gonna give the win to her. I'm a little surprised by that, not gonna lie. And in the next episode, episode 3, called the NAFTA Awards, the winners here were Baby and again Dakota Schiffer, which was a design challenge where they in teams had to pick one color and make matching outfits. I really like both of their outfits a lot, but I think that Baby had the best one. I just like her puffy skirt a bit more. I think Dakota's is a little bit flat, so I think I'm gonna get the win here to Baby. Then we get to UK5 episode 4, Disaster Class, where the queens in teams of 3 had to hold a masterclass on a certain topic. And oh my god, I love this challenge so much. This is probably my favorite execution of a challenge of these 3 queens here who won the challenge. Michael Maruli, Tamara Thomas, and Ginger Johnson. Michael, of course, serving as the host here and the leader in a way. She was so great, and Tamara was more of a comedy relief character, having all the stunts, and Ginger just supplying whenever needed. And it was really great. I think I'm gonna give the win to Michael for being the host here, because she set the whole tone and she kept the flow going, and she was really great at that. You can tell she's a great host, and she probably hosts a lot. On the runway, the category was Slaycation. This was a bit of a letdown, I would say. Michael's is fun with the postcard here, but it's just very basic, unfortunately. I have no idea what Ginger Johnson is wearing here, how it fits the theme. I don't think it does. And Tamara, of course, looks stunning as always, but she is just in underwear. But I think the win will go to Michael for the challenge. And then we have the last one from the UK here, with UK6, episode 6, Snatch Game. Of course, you don't know if UK7 will have one yet. Double win here went to Kyron Frax and Lawa. I think they both did a really good job, and I expected them to win both of them when it happened. But I think Lawa could definitely have gotten this win alone. I think her Liza was, of course, genius, so fucking funny. Amazing. But it was because of Kyron, how much she tried to interact with Lawa. I think that's why they won together. And on the runway, we had the category Doctor Who Is She? It was very fun. I feel like they both could have done something else that would have made more sense and be a bit better. But yeah, I still want to give the win to Lawa here, just for that amazing performance. And now we get to the Down Under series, and we only have 3 here. So we start off with Down Under season 2 in episode 3, titled A Bottomless Brunch, where the queens had to team up in pairs and do a sort of a stand-up routine, I would call it. It was supposed to be like a drag performance you would see at a brunch. And the winners here were Spanky Jackson and Yuri Guy. I think it's very clear that Spanky is the winner here. She is just so much in control. She seems like the host, and Yuri Guy is more like a backup character that chimes in once in a while. But it works fine. And the category on the runway were Red for Filth. I do like Yuri Guy's look a bit more, but I still think Spanky should get the win here because of the challenge. And I also think this was Spanky's best runway. She didn't have that great ones. And episode 5 of Down Under 2, we also have a girl group challenge where multiple queens win. Bosom buddies, bosom buddies, bosom buddies, bosom buddies, bosom buddies, bosom buddies, bosom buddies. Fuck, that's hard to say. Bosom buddies, titled Bosom Buddies. This is probably my favorite girl group challenge of all time. I love all their verses so much. I love the hook in between. It is just so fucking great. I listen to it very often. And the winners here are Hanaconda, Queen Kong, and again Spanky Jackson. It's funny how it's always the same queens in these multiple wins. For this one, I'm actually very impressed by Spanky's performance in the girl groups. She really hits the marks, like you can tell she's a dancer. Hannah is very stiff, But of course the true star of this one is Queen Kong. And on the runway the category was belts, buckles and chains, which is just very strange. And sadly again I think Spanky's runway lets her down, and I think that Hannah's actually has the best here, but she does do the worst in the challenge. So I think Queen Kong is definitely getting the win here. So now we move on to the last one from the Down Under, and it's Down Under Season 3 Episode 7, titled Terriers in Tiaras, which is another makeover challenge where the queens have to make over dog moms and their dogs as well. So the winners here are Isis, Avis, Lauren and Floor. I don't know why Floor wins this challenge. I think they just wanted her to have a challenge when going into the finale, because Isis is the clear winner of this one. There is a family resemblance. They look beautiful, both of them. When you look at Floor's outfits here, there are no resemblance whatsoever. Like the dresses don't look similar at all. It's red and white. Isis should have won this alone. That's it. So now we just have two more from two different franchises here. So we start off with Global All-Stars in episode 1, the Global Talent Extravaganza, where the two winners were Alyssa Edwards and Queen Kong. So in the first episode, half of the queens did a talent show, and then there was gonna be a top 2, and they would have to lip sync to win this challenge. And here the queens did lip sync, but both of them won it, which is very, very interesting. I think they just wanted the Ru girls to be front runners from the get-go, because I think it was fair that these were the top 2, and I think Alyssa should have won overall. Also on the runway, which was Garden of Eden, she clearly has the better look, she has the better talent show, she also does the best in the lip sync. And it's very funny if you notice right at the end of the lip sync, Queen Kong is about to take Alyssa's hand and lift it up as like, oh, you're the champion of this lip sync, but then they cut away right before she does it, and then they both win the lip sync. So yeah, it's very clearly Alyssa who wins overall in all 3 categories here. And the last one here is from RuPaul's Secret Celebrity Drag Race Season 2. In episode 3 called Money Honey, where we have a double win here with Chick LaFay and Chakra 7. So in this one they had to do a lip sync performance about songs regarding money. Chick LaFay does a Girl Scout troop challenge of Rihanna's Bitch Better Have My Money, which is very, very funny. She was really gangster to look at. It was so great. And Chakra 7 does like a super villain version of Fergie's MILFs or Milk Money. For me, it's very clearly Chick LaFay's win this one. I am not sure why they both win this. It also seems like the audience and Brooklyn, Jujubee and Monet also seems to react the most to Chick LaFay here. They both hit all the moves. Chakra 7 is pregnant in this one. I'm not sure if she is or if she's like a pretending thing. It's very strange, and it hinders her in some of her moves. So I think it's very clearly Chick LaFay winning this. But yeah, that was it from all the RuPaul seasons where multiple queens won a challenge where they normally shouldn't have. So I hope you enjoyed this, and let me know if you agree or disagree with me on some of these. I think I was very fair. Some of them were hard to determine, but I think I was very fair in my judging here. Let's call it that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. Also check out my other channel where I make gaming and Pokemon Go content. See you next time. Bye bye.